We are live once again. My name's Alec. This is White Whale Comics, and this is New Comic Book Day Book Club number 49. Can you believe it?
Unbelievable.
And somehow we've been doing it over a year.
We missed a lot of weeks in there.
Next to me is John, as always, my faithful sidekick. No
Next
matter
to
what
me
he
is
says, he's got a duck. And our guest this week is Edwin the Comic Jabroni. What's up? Welcome.
Thank you, Alec. Thank you, Johnny, for having me on the show, guys.
One of the
Very
four
much
horsemen.
appreciate the invite.
Absolutely. It's overdue.
I know it's been a work in progress. John's asked me a bunch of times. I'm like, dude, I don't read that. I'm not picking that up this week. But he knew I'd been reading this book, so I'm happy to talk about it.
We always want to make sure the people that come and join us are talking about a book that, if nothing else, at least something they're interested in. We can't promise that it's going to be not, hot garbage water, but
we never can promise that. But
can't promise.
But we can.
We're not going to make someone read a Marvel book when they're strictly a DC guy.
Yeah, we're going to force Tony Sanders to read Captain Marvel. Nobody else is going to have it.
He fell in that.
If you don't know the comic Jabroni, I think that's crazy. Part of the comic triple threat, part of the four horsemen of comics. He is a beast dropping edited videos. You should definitely check into his content because he is a badass.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. I appreciate that. Appreciate the kind words, John. Part of the four horsemen of comics. Don't forget the four horsemen of comics.
So we're here tonight talking about this book that I've been hyping up for the last few weeks. Strange Skies Over East Berlin. This is number 3 that came out today, but we're talking about 1, 2, and 3, so we're not just jumping into a third issue of something where people don't know what the hell we're talking about. Because I'm guessing that not a ton of people are reading this.
I do feel like those Boom Studios books, as good as they are not getting the same amount of love as some of the image indies and things like that everybody talks about.
I think once in Future, right? That's a Boom Studio, so that's getting a lot of the hype from Boom.
It's Something Is Killing the Children.
That's another one. So this one's kind of flying under the radar, but I know we're going to talk about it, but I think it's just as good. It's a good story.
Yeah, I'm reading all 3 of those, and they're all they've been on my pull since somebody, whether it was actually one of you two guys, probably telling me about each of them. I think I heard about Once in Future through Jabroni. I heard about this book through Alec. So,
real quickly, because I'm still in greatest comic book show ever mode, we should probably shout out the chat because we don't do that on that show because we're supposed to be jerks on that. But it's all just an act. We had J Hood Creative in the chat tailgating along with Perry and Old Wolf. And then Chris Barrett jumped in and said he felt cheated from the ending of our last show, which kind of the point.
A lot of people did.
I would argue his second point, at least with Sopranos, something happened.
Downright Nerdy Podcast is in the chat. Yo. We had Craig69 stopping in. Biggie Shack, as always. Comics for Thomas. Is it Hack79 or is it HAQ?
I say Hack, but
let's get some clarification from the man himself.
What if he just writes HAQ and couldn't you read it either way still?
And it is up to our discretion. TJ, that Slab Dragon Watson joining us, and Drew Manchu Bebe. Where'd he go? And Just a Regan. What's up, Brad? Just jumping in.
Yo.
So we did that like we're supposed to. Okay, so Strange Skies Over East Berlin. Give you a brief rundown of the plot, or at least the setup. It is a spy story set in East Berlin when that still existed. Spoiler alert, it doesn't anymore. They knocked down the wall a little while ago.
What?
Confirmation, it is Hack.
Hack.
Yeah, Chris Barrett said, counterpoint to your counterpoint, something happened at the end of Sopranos, we don't know what happened. Well, once we rolled the credits, we heard the tidbit, so something did happen.
I'm saying I'm on eBay right now, mother.
No, that's not true. We just had a good old laugh. So it's the spy network, and they're trying to get some people out of East Berlin. This one guy in particular, who's kind of like the organizer, the head spy, who's doing this whole thing. And in the middle of this whole operation, he and everyone else in the area sees this huge meteorite or something come through the sky, like massively huge, lighting up the whole situation. It then turns into kind of like X-Files-y, where there's this underground bunker and people are turning into monsters. And so tear down that wall, Mr. Gorbachev.
Tear down that wall.
And I will say one of the things that I liked in the first two issues in particular was this idea that he feels like in that moment, our main character feels like his cover was blown, right? That's his kind
of
his
biggest concern.
Yeah. There's a Russian agent at the wall that night. And our hero is worried that this Russian, is it a colonel or something?
He's just part of the police, the like spy police force. Russian or East German spy police force.
Yeah. So he's worried that this police officer saw him and can identify him, and that his cover is blown.
Right. Or at that same time, was he looking up at the sky like everybody else was, or was he looking at him?
And so there's two very interesting things at play for me within the first issue, at least, which is one, exactly that kind of line between spy thriller and sci-fi story, and where like a lot of the similar themes exist in those two genres, to a point where there's that whole tension, there's a whole what if, there's a whole I don't know what's happening. So I think they complement each other really well. But there's also that moment of, which is some of my favorite things in horror and sci-fi, that moment of realization of what's happening. And I'm hesitant to give this movie too much credit because I don't think it's that great, but the remake of Dawn of the Dead does this masterfully. I think if this was a short film that just ended when she goes outside and sees the chaos, it would have been great. She's in bed with her husband, and this little girl walks in just covered in blood, and she's a nurse, and she just goes into like nurse mode, where she's like trying to see where she's hurt and trying to help her. And then the little girl is a zombie and starts attacking them. And that moment of panic and fear and not understanding what's happening, is handled so well in that. I think it is not so instantaneous in this, in a way, even though it does happen, like where the guy turns into a monster. But because you have some idea of what's going on with the meteorite beforehand, but there's still that kind of feeling of like, oh, there's that turn of like, oh, what's happening now? Like, I was worried about this, now I need to be worried about this.
But you still feel that, like when you said tension, I think that's a great point, is at the end of that first book, and I guess we're going to get into spoilers, who cares? It's the first book. It came out 2 months ago.
No, this is a full spoiler show.
Let's do it. So at the end of that first book, this Stasi, right, that cop, and I think Chris Barrett said it was Stasi. He shows up in the same bunker that the American spy is in. And that's how the book ends. So you feel that tension, like, uh-oh, now he's there too.
Right.
So
there's huge problems here.
So now he's got an alien problem, and he has this police, the spy guy that might know who he is.
And that spy guy shows up after the guy they're interrogating turns into an alien.
Yeah. His head explodes.
Yeah, for me, like, I love that balance of those two central problems for the hero. So he's got like is my cover going to be blown? Are these East German guys going to just kill me or torture me to get info from me? Or on the other side, is this alien threat like legitimately going to be something that is going to kill me as well? Like it's a death on all sides, right?
And furthermore, they lock down the bunker because this guy's head just exploded. And they don't know what's happening.
The woman that's in charge of this bunker, she's like, you're only going to know so much. I'm only going to tell you what you need to know. And if things go bad, we're shutting this down. The whole bunker is going to close down, and we're going to stop it from getting out.
Which she did. So now not only is this guy trapped in the bunker with the alien, he's trapped in the bunker with this Stasi. He's trapped in the bunker with the other police, in this other woman, and so he has no hope of escaping from anything, really.
Yeah, no hope.
And so in the second issue, this thing gets into his head and starts speaking to him.
Not just his, everybody's.
Right, but you hear the narration of the thing speaking to him, right? But you don't really find out that it's necessarily speaking to everyone until a bit later, if I remember correctly. I didn't reread it
in the second book, and I had to reread it. This is one of those books where I had to reread to really appreciate what I was reading. The text changes colors, depending on who's speaking, right? Who's the narrator, and it gets to a darker color when it's the alien, I guess, in your head telling them these things, and you see it speaking not only to him but to the woman, and I think to somebody else in the book, and it might be that other cop. So it's like showing them dreams of things that happened in the past that, you know, they did. Like with the woman, I guess it was during the Russian war where she let her brother die or something, and he's now speaking to her saying, you let me die, and she's seeing the Russian flag and the city's kind of bombarded. The first time I read that, I didn't like it. I was not a fan of the dark. It was like a black background with the dark blue.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to read.
It makes you really have to put it up to your face to see it. And I'm not Rod. I don't need the glasses, but it was a little bit harder to read. But the second time around, I understood better what was going on.
Yeah. And there's this whole theme of the truth, and the guy, especially in this third issue, that's like a big thing where they're talking about that, and the truth will set you free type of thing. But he's being interrogated, so he can't tell the guy the truth.
Right.
But at the same time, the alien or whatever this mysterious thing is in his head, reminding him of these terrible things he did and telling him, like, you have to face this truth that you don't want to face. And it's like very interestingly honest and well, like, we have to take his word for it, but he isn't reacting to it in a way that makes you think that it's not telling the truth.
He brings it up even in the first issue where, like, the lies keep building, and after a while, you're just living a lie. You don't even really know what the truth is anymore. So that builds that's building from the first issue, and then when he meets the alien gets in his head. Now the alien is telling him, these are the truths. This is the lie that you're living, and this is the truth that you need to come to terms with.
Which is, that layered theme through the whole run up to now has been the sort of it feels less like the truth will set you free and more like the truth's going to get you killed.
Yeah, the truth's you're going to die.
And I dig the way they balance the truth versus the lies are the only things keeping him alive, and it's all being laid out, and he's basically being put further and further in danger. As far as the era, J Hood, I feels earlier than the 60s to me, but maybe I'm wrong.
What I read online was 1970s.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, 1970s, East Germany, East Berlin.
So interesting you brought up that point of, like, the truth will set you free, but in this case it'll get you killed. I think he basically, like, I don't know if those are two necessarily different things for this character, because in this third issue, when he's getting interrogated, he's trying all these different techniques to kind of get through this interrogation. And the only thing that finally works is for him to say, like, basically, aren't you sick of these lies? And, like, that very easily could have got him killed. And I think he was okay with that at that point. But it kind of worked. And the general guy was like, basically find out that he's hearing these voices too.
Right, because I think he asked him, doesn't he? The main American spy asked him, well, you're hearing it too, or was it the other way around? One of them asked the other, is it talking to you too? And that's when they come to the realization they're both being messed with by the alien.
Right. And so I think they kind of are like, at that point, I don't want to say that they became allies, but they know, like, okay, my enemy is my friend type of thing, where it's not necessarily like, oh, we've got bigger fish to fry type of thing.
So I see Old Wolf keeps asking, and I'm sorry, I should have got to this answer. He's like, why is he being interrogated in the third book? It's because in the second one, when everything goes to hell, he tries to get word out to the Americans. This is what's going on in this bunker, and that's when he gets found by the German spy.
The Stasi, yeah.
Yeah, the Stasi finds him out.
So they don't know anything else other than the fact that he is not who he says he is, basically. Because he's posing as, he's obviously not telling them that he's an American.
And you also get some not only do these characters hear the voices in their head, but then they start to see a lot of different things too, right? The hero character is seeing a woman who he feels he betrayed, and she's kind of like a big part of the third book, but in this second one a lot too. And then the lady who's in charge of the compound starts having these visions of the city as a Russian city, I think, being taken over. Where is it? Sorry. Yes, she has this looking back at what she's seen so far in this occupation of East Berlin and what it's been like for her I think she must be implying that either she's Russian or certainly has Russian sympathies.
What I thought when I read that was it's like, because it's 1970, she's a little older, and it's supposed to be like a wartime. So it might have been World War II when the Nazis invaded Russia. So it might have been something in her past where she let her brother die on the battlefield, because Russian women played a major role in the Russian army.
I didn't know that.
They were snipers. They did a lot in the Russian army. So she might have been part of the Russian army when the Nazis invaded, and now she's having those dreams of something bad happened then.
You want to hear a funny, quick story about when the Germans invaded Russia?
There's funny stories about that?
I think it's kind of a funny story. I mean, it's
ripe for comedy. Here we go.
So the Germans trained dogs. They strapped bombs to the dogs, and they trained them to go under tanks so they could blow up the Russian tanks.
Eesh.
So they would train them to do this by, training them to go under tanks. Well, not blowing them up, obviously, because you need to train them.
You might need the dogs.
They sent them out on the battlefield in Russia, and they all ran under the German tanks because that's what they were trained to do.
They ran.
Told you it was funny.
That's a good one, man.
Still not funny for the dog.
No, it's not funny for the dog, and it's still World War II, and it's World War II, and it's terrible.
This
what a schmuck up, huh?
This scientist guy who's having visions of working.
I'm gonna make you big.
He clearly was working for in one of the silos with missile launches, and so he's flashing to that moment in his past, and you can see the tentacles kind of getting into him. Yep. The alien connecting into what he's doing. I wanted to show what the alien looked like for those, because it's one of my favorite drawings.
Chris Barrett is correcting me. I have it backwards. The Russians did it, but it didn't work because the Russians used diesel and the Germans didn't. Well, I was close.
Close enough. It made me laugh.
Yeah.
Right. I just really dig the design.
Yeah, the alien looks trippy, man.
It's cool. And the tentacles that leach into your mind coming off of the whole body of the beast. It's really cool.
But when we we don't actually even first see it in the first book until the very end, I think. But it's embedded into the body of whatever that German or Russian soldier.
The guy that's getting interviewed, yeah.
Yeah, and then his head explodes while he's getting interviewed, and I think that's when the tentacles start coming out.
So speaking of which, what do you guys think of the artwork?
On the Rican scale, it's a 5 out of 5. No, it's mid. It's mid for me, like a 3 out of 5. It's not the best I've ever seen. It's a different look. It's not artwork I've really seen before.
Yeah, it definitely has a unique feeling to it. It's certainly it doesn't have that super polished kind of super high realism, but there's something about it I certainly like, where it's very, very effective in certain spots where especially stuff with the aliens and stuff kind of reminds me of a Ben Templesmith 30 Days a Night kind of yeah, this is wacky, but it really fits what we're looking at.
It fits the story. It fits the darkness. It makes looking at the pages and looking at just the colors and the shadows, it makes it more scary to look at. It's supposed to be a sci-fi thriller spy tale, and you're getting that feel while you're looking at it and you're reading it.
Yeah, Wolf agrees. He thinks it fits the story. I
like,
agree.
this is what I would say is the minimalist side of it. Like, you can't. The guy, he doesn't even have. This guy doesn't even have eyes. Like, it's just shadows.
Yeah, but like I think that's really pretty intentional and like
absolutely,
it makes it creepy and weird and
yeah, everything feels obscured. Sometimes it's hard to tell one character from another.
In a spy story, things are obscured.
Deep. But I also noticed that, like, especially in the third book, because it jumps more, right? As we start to see more and more people affected by the aliens and what's happening. If there's more than one, maybe it's just the one alien. I feel like we jump a lot more often. There's more narrators and there's more things going on. And so it's even harder to tell one character from the next. I kept stopping and saying, wait, is that the main character? Is that another character? Like, there were definitely moments when it was a challenge. And so that would probably ding the artwork a little bit for me. I just the confusion on my part was not a whole lot of enjoyable elements, but I do think it's artwork like I've never seen in another book, and I think it fits perfectly this story.
Yeah.
And I like how in the third book the artwork changes when it starts backtracking and telling more of his story in South America. So it's a brighter color, right? It's not so dark. They're not in a bunker. There's lighter colors. So it gives that feel of he's outside, and things are going well for him.
Yeah.
And it gets a lot darker when he's in the bunker about to get effed by an alien.
There's certainly a lot of like very considered choices in the art. It's not just like someone drawing to get through the story. Like someone sat down and made a lot of choices that reflect like what you were just saying. Like, oh, when I do these flashbacks, I'm going to use a different color palette.
Right. And we finally get that backstory of who this woman is. We don't know who it is. It's just some woman that keeps following him around, telling him he's nothing but lies. You've broken my heart, or whatever it was.
Yeah.
And then we finally get that backstory, and I love it because it tells the story of what the U.S. did in South America too. So this is a spy story. The CIA, if you know anything about history, CIA went down to South America, and we gang raped those countries down there. So
we affected. We did this all over the world, but affected.
A lot of change down there.
Yeah, a lot of regime changes and stuff like that. So, and that's not conspiracy theory. That's just like what happened. But again, like I think it's really interesting when the big theme of this is the truth and the lies and stuff. And she's telling him this story about these terrible things that he did, and never once does he say anything that I can remember where he's like, no, that's not what really happened. That's not what he never denies any of it, which I think is an interesting choice for him to not even, like, as a reader. I just got a huge echo.
Well, he's not defending his actions, right? He's very much saying, like, his silence is acknowledging I did this, and it's weighing on me from a guilt standpoint, right?
Right. It's more than just. But like in a lot of stories, people are not so quick to own up to stuff like that. And they would say something like, no, you got it all wrong. That's not how it went down, blah, blah, blah. Like they might try to push back because whether or not they are not admitting it to themselves or they just don't want to admit it to this other person, they're kind of hesitant.
Well, a lot of it has to do with because he's already, before he even meets the alien or gets in that bunker in that first issue, he's struggling with this life that he's built with lies and truths, and everything's a lie, lie, lie. And in that first issue, he even says, the one time you had something truthful and love and whatever it was with this woman, you lied then too. And you threw her under the bus. So he's struggling with it. And now that he had an alien in his head, kind of messing with him. Yeah. I think he's finally just letting go. There's nothing to say. No, that's not how it really was. Yeah. Hey, it was true. This is what happened. This is what I did. But it's the life, right? It's the life he chose, the job that he has to do.
Right. And, maybe it's kind of an interesting dynamic because it's just this voice in his own head that he's, facing his own demons. It's not like the Stasi guy is saying, "Hey, you did this," and maybe he would have a different reaction to that.
It's his voice.
Right. Like he knows, like, in himself what he did and what he didn't do.
Right. Very true. I don't know. Like, so I got the B cover on this third issue, and I know who is that? That's not me. I'm sorry if that's me, guys.
Is there
I
don't have YouTube open.
No, I think it's someone's mic is just echoing. It I don't know.
It might be mine. I've been muting it every so often.
Yeah.
So I know with this B cover, I grabbed this B cover because it has a lot to do with the story, right? You see this pink burst of whatever. And that woman that we talked about that's down there that's controlling the bunker, she shoots the alien in the head and it does nothing. She says, usually you shoot them in the head and they go down, but that alien did not go down.
Yeah.
A hardcore broad too.
So it's not this isn't just a spy, like alien sci-fi spy story. There's a little bit of action too, some gruesome actions going on where the alien he's killing these people. So I dig that too, man. I like that. They're adding just different elements of comic books that I like. Storytelling as well. I enjoyed that.
B Shack says, well, Hasselhoff brought the wall down, so
music brings people together, brother.
Oh, and she lit the damn thing on fire.
That's what I was saying.
Yeah, which also did absolutely nothing.
And it did nothing. Oh, okay. One question I had, and I was hoping you guys, in the first book, the guy that's the first guy that we see that has an alien, and we see a few others that have this alien in it, it keeps saying to open the door.
Yeah.
Now, that doesn't mean the bunker door, right? Does that have another meaning to it? Open the door.
Yeah, I don't know. When I first read it, that's what I thought, because it wants to get out and wants to infect more people. But maybe it's like a symbolic door of the truth.
Or maybe the door to the spacecraft if they're keeping it away from the spacecraft.
Yeah, I mean, it might just be straightforward. And it was my first reaction of, like, wants to just get out and infect everyone, but maybe it's going to be deeper than that. I guess we'll have to find out. It's an interesting question.
Open the door. Or not hold it. Hold door? Hold the door? Hold door.
Hold the door.
Hold door.
I'd love to talk about what you think the long term or the future of the alien. What is the alien's goal, and what you perceive to be the alien's purpose here?
Yeah, so I kind of think that the aliens kind of feed on the bodies of people or these types of reactions or whatever it is. For some reason, they're getting some sort of sustenance from this. I don't think they care about spreading the truth. I think they're using that as a way to facilitate what they need.
Okay.
Yep.
And they just want to get out in the world and just take it over and eat everything.
You think it's just the one, or do you think there's more?
I think
I feel like it's probably just the one. The more I think about it.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, whether or not it's one or multiples, like, it's infecting more than one person. So it has the ability to be in more than one place at one time. So if for that effect, it is multiples, whether or not it's one consciousness.
Yeah, because they never show. They always just show the one alien in a different setting. So you don't know if it's a bunch of different hallways and maybe there's a bunch of different aliens in these hallways. They never show two of them together. So I'm thinking there's only one, but you're right, Alec, that this alien has those tentacles and it can just get into anybody's brain at once.
And it seems to communicate with all of them simultaneously. Like one gal, the lady running the base is having one vision, and the guy who used to fire the rockets is having one vision, and our character is having another vision, all simultaneously, as if they're all sort of hive-mindedly sort of connected.
Chris Barrett says, wow, Alec isn't shitting on this book. Yeah.
Not yet.
I would be remiss in my selections if I picked a third issue of a comic that I already hated. So, yeah, I'm a fan of this book.
Okay, so the one gripe I have then, talking about shitting on a book.
All right.
They're in East Berlin, right? So they should be speaking German. or there's Russians there, so there should be some Russian speak, but everything's in English. And of course, I understand we're English speakers, we read in English, but maybe they should have put brackets or something when he's speaking in a different language, so we know. I don't know. That's just the one, and it's very small. It's a very just small bit of gripe that I had, but that's it, man. I still enjoy the story.
Yeah, I kind of just assumed that they were not actually speaking English, but maybe that.
But you can't tell when he is speaking English because it looks like the Stasi guy, right? The German spy or Russian spy, I don't know which one it is. He knows what he is. He saw him that night. He says he saw him that night. So he knows he's an American spy. So is he now speaking to him in English, or is he still speaking to him in German? Or I think it's German because he says, "I hope my German's good," or Russian. I think it was Russian. In the first book, he goes down to the bunker. He's like, "Well, I hope my Russian's good."
Yeah. Perry with the solid joke. Very small things can still be powerful.
That's what your wife tells you.
I'm gonna say that's a classic self burn.
Oh Lord!
So, this alien it seems like it's doing two things, in my opinion. Like, as far as what it can do and what its goal is, it seems to, number one, make these mental connections and to be able to sort of communicate through the memories and minds of the people around it. But it also seems to be killing some of them, not all of them, but some of them.
Well, it needs someone to let it out.
So it does seem to be doing like two different things going on at the same time. One, to try to, like, I don't know if it's it feels more like testing them to see how they respond to the stimulus that it's giving to them. Like, I'm going to make you relive some of the most traumatic moments of your life to see how you respond and where weaknesses are. And then it's disposing of people that it deems useless in some way. That's kind of what I see it doing. If it and its goal, like Alec keeps saying, is clearly to open some door that it needs opened.
Right.
Is it killing them, or are they killing the people that it's infected?
Well, something's killing children
as well. Yeah,
I think it's them killing, because she gives the order. She's like, if something tries to get out or something's amiss, shoot them. And she shoots the guy by the door. The guy who we think his head exploded, he's actually taken down by the other Russian soldiers. So I think it's them killing themselves
because of the machinations that the alien is putting into motion or whatever.
Right. He wants to try to get out. She's given the order, lock down, don't let anybody out. If they try to get out, if they try to tell you some craziness, shoot them. And she tells the guy, she shoots the one soldier, and then she tells the other one, "You're next. If you ever, do something like that again, I'll shoot you too."
Yeah.
It's a good thing this is on my channel this week. So there's a lot of dick talk in the chat tonight.
Perry started it. Got to be Perry.
So have fun with that, ladies and gentlemen.
Perry, man, with the girth. Girth is important.
Anyway, back to aliens.
Yeah, let's talk about aliens probing people instead.
Oh yes.
There's no probing in this book.
There's definite mental probing going on here. Spiritual.
Is that in a way worse?
Yeah. I could definitely see what you're saying, Edwin, that there would be a reveal at some point that the alien hadn't actually harmed anyone, was just manipulating them all. I think that's a definite possibility for this, because the power that it seems to exude. But at the same time, there's definitely those expressions on people's faces when it's done with them, where they're just like this when he's taking care of this guy,
right,
all the way here. It seems like it's just draining this guy and then dropping him on the ground and moving on to the next guy, and then capturing all these guys while they're the gal in the hallway there is freaking out, just draining them all.
You bring up an interesting question about, you said, does the alien actually kill anyone, or is it just manipulating them and they're killing themselves? There was actually a trial recently where someone was on trial for murder for basically telling someone else to kill themselves.
Yeah, I've seen that. Wasn't that the girl, the teenage girl that kept telling her boyfriend,
"You should just
yeah, the world would be better without you," and she's on trial for is it murder or
it's like not first degree murder, but it's
she should be fucking
negligent homicide.
I don't know exactly how they're, but that is the question of like, even though this alien isn't maybe technically killing anyone, is it still responsible because like it knows what it's doing, and it's it happened in Massachusetts, we'll say, and it clearly is trying to get them to kill themselves, it seems. So isn't it still killing them?
Yeah. But it hasn't killed the main character, and we know that it has tentacles in that and the woman.
Yeah.
And she's seeing the same vision. So I don't know. I want to read the 4th issue to see where it goes.
But also, like, clearly it's sentient and it can understand people's memories and thoughts, and so it probably knows the difference between a grunt and someone who's important.
Yep, that too. You're right. And there's 3 people in this bunker that are important.
And
there was. It seemed like there was 4 in the first issue with the other scientists that kept
the scientist guy with the round glasses.
Yeah, but
I think who runs the show, and then the Stasi guy and our guy.
I think he's dead.
Seems like after this issue, might be a few of them dead. I don't know.
I think there's only 2 left, right? It's the woman and the spy in the American.
Because the
seemingly
guy who's interviewing him seemed to be.
He got shot.
Yeah.
If you look at that page where she shoots an alien in the head,
definitely also say that it's possible he's still alive. He just put down. I don't know.
Is this what you were expecting when you picked up the first issue?
No.
Like it totally went off the rails.
I will say this wasn't what I was expecting after reading the first 2 issues. I feel like issue 3 was a departure from issues 1 and 2, where all of a sudden it was like we're in several minds simultaneously. We're jumping all around. Everybody's dying. Like I thought everybody was dying. I was like, I thought that Stasi guy was going to be hugely important. Seemed like the Stasi guy's dead now. Maybe
it's like Game of Thrones. No one's safe.
Nobody. I mean, I said it in my review video after the second issue. I said that it has gone from more of a spy tale to a sci-fi thriller. And
definitely.
Yes, there's still spy themes in there because they're all spies, but it's definitely not a sci-fi thriller where you're in a bunker locked down with an alien.
Right. The first issue is definitely a lot more spy thriller heavy, but like I'm glad they didn't introduce the alien in panel 1 and it didn't have that. I'm glad they had a little bit of a slow burn where it built up this. Like I said, you get that reveal of like that turn of theme.
Yeah, well, isn't the alien reveal not even the last page? It's like 3 pages before the end. The big reveal at the end of issue 1 is that the Stasi guy's there.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. That's you could argue that it's the villain reveal, but he's clearly not the villain of this series, I think.
And you don't even see what the alien looks like in the first book.
Yeah, you just get like a glimpse of the light and the little wavy lines.
From the Russian soldier, like you see the tentacles coming out of his... But you don't even know what the alien looks like or what it is.
And I will say that's one of the things that I think is going to be most interesting in later issues is clearly we're missing the information of what happened since the asteroid went through the sky and when our guy showed up at the bunker, some stuff went down. Like whatever it was they found at the site, however they moved it to this bunker, whatever's been going on at this bunker up to now, I think there's been some stuff that happened that we don't know.
Yeah. Definitely possible. I mean, it's spy stuff.
Spy stuff.
Secrets, man. Secrets and lies.
There's always stuff going on that people don't know about.
Boylet 7's in the chat. Matt's been doing his 12 days of Christmas. He had Sam's Tangled Web on tonight. So if you missed that like we did because we were on doing shows, catch that replay, catch that rewind. I'm sure it's going to be a hardcore tearjerker. Love me some Sam's Tangled Web.
Yeah, last night's was crazy with Comic Geek McD. His reaction was expectedly amazing. I said afterwards that I'm sorry that I'm an emotionless rock and that I didn't have the same sort of reaction that McD had, but still
see Fuchsia and Soldier only on there as well.
Yeah, it was great. It was a great stream last night.
Yeah, when he got up, when he saw the book, and then he just got up and like walked away. I felt that coming. Like that was awesome stuff, man. What Matt's been doing, that's incredible. And I saw y'all's episode 2 nights ago. That was awesome. Awesome content, man, that I loved watching yesterday. And then I saw some of Sam's Tangled Webs tonight when he opened it and he got to see what it was. It's funny, the different reactions from people. Because Sam's was, he didn't know how to take in like something from somebody like that, Yeah. Like you see it with McD. He's emotional. He gets up. He walks away. But Sam was kind of stumbling over his words. He didn't know how to take in this awesome present that he was given. And I just love it. I love seeing the different reactions from people during these 12 days, man. I can't wait to see the rest.
It's going to be amazing.
Yeah.
It's going to be amazing.
So, are you guys picking up issue 4? It sounds like everybody is.
Most
3 issues deep, man. I want to finish the story.
We were talking before, like we're not sure how many issues this is, but I'm in it now. I mean, unless it turns out to be like 30, 40 issues, that might be a different story. But if it's under 12, I'm in. Or 12 or under.
This feels like a 5 or 6 issue mini.
It's moving so quickly.
It does feel like it's moving towards something pretty quickly.
Yeah, if it was an ongoing, I might get through the first story arc and then do what John does and Perry says he's going to do is read it and trade. I'll read it and trade. But it's a mini series. I'm going to pick it up and
Chris Barrett says it's indefinite.
It's not. Get out of town.
It's
indefinite. Nothing is an indefinite.
It's Doomsday Clock.
Doomsday Clock was pretty indefinite.
Oh, gosh.
Old Wolf says it's only 4 issues.
Really?
Oh.
So that means we got one left, man. I was
going to say, this issue felt like it was running. So I wouldn't be surprised 4 or 5.
So then by the end, I guess we didn't get to it. So the end of the 3rd issue is he looks like he's running towards the bunker door. And he might be the last one left.
It's totally possible that he's the last one alive, but I got the feeling that the woman was still there, and it's possible that the Stasi guy might be alive.
I might have misunderstood what Old Wolf was saying. Let's see if he clears.
I don't know, man, because if you look at this panel right there, it looks like that Stasi guy got a chunk blown out of him.
Yeah. Which is weird. So now you had the moment when she shoots the alien in the head, but our Stasi guy goes down with what looks like a head wound. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
Just a little tidbit I caught.
Chris Barrett said, "I'm evil."
He meant he's picking up issue 4. He doesn't know how long it'll be.
We didn't say you were evil, Chris Barrett. We said you were a failed supervillain. That's the difference.
Yeah. And the week before we said you were a failure as a sidekick to Batman. So we're apparently a little harsh on Chris Barrett, but it's mostly because we love you and we would love that you're in the chat. So we got to shout you out the best way we can on a show that doesn't shout people.
Yeah. If we're not teasing you,
we don't know that you're there.
That's not true. I don't know where I was going with that because anyway. So yeah, issue 4 definitely, and I'm in it at least 6 issues. Yeah. Like issue 4 has to be like a super stinker for me to be like, okay, I'm changing my mind.
And I doubt it will be. I think now the story is going to focus more on what maybe this alien is. What
it's opened and what it's looking for. Yeah.
And he's running towards the door. And if that woman, you're right, John, I think the woman is still alive. She's going to try to stop this American spy from getting out.
Freaking bazooka next or something. I don't know.
She's on a mission to not let anybody know what's down there.
Here and a machine gun and who knows what she
took
got.
That flamethrower out, man, and she lit it up. It did nothing.
That was awesome. That might have been my favorite moment when she's like, I shot in the head. Didn't work. Not for take 2.
Yeah.
So do you know anything else written by this writer, Jeff Loveness?
Yeah, we were just saying he wrote that DC book that Lois Lane on the cover of Superman's outfit. I forget, it was the Death of Superman thing that just came out.
Oh, the dark multiverse?
Yeah.
All the hype. Yeah. But I think he does a lot of TV stuff. I don't think he's done a lot of comics.
You know what? Now that you say that, like he's a TV writer, you kind of get the sense reading this. You know, it could be a mini series on TV.
Sure.
This could definitely be a mini series on TV. I don't know if you guys have ever seen the TV show The Americans. It was FX, you know, Russian spies in America.
Kerry Russell, right?
Yeah.
That was in it?
Yeah.
Kerry Russell.
Like that didn't have anything to do with aliens or sci-fi, but it was just Russian spies in America during this time, like 1970s, early 80s. Like I just get that sense from this book that I get when I watch those kind of TV shows. Spy network, having a lie to get into different places that you're not supposed to be in. That's good stuff, man. That's good stuff. Sometimes, and I've said it on my channel, sometimes you want to read a comic book that's not just superheroes versus supervillains. You want to read something different. You want to read a spy story. You want to read sci-fi. And this is what that is. If you want to read something like that and enjoy the read, this is for you. Meet the Scrolls. Perry said it too, man. That was a great 6 issue. I like Meet the Scrolls, man, from Marvel. That was a good. I think it was 5 or 6 issues.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Biggie Shack with the bold prediction is that it's going to be the Simpsons alien.
Oh, he's shooting his shot.
Hey, can't win if you don't play. So I think that about wraps it up, right? Unless you guys have any final points.
No, I think you nailed it.
Yeah, that was good.
You have anything you guys want to promote that's coming up this week for you?
This guy's dropping edited videos like hot rocks.
Hey, man, I just dropped the 5 cheap Batman first appearance keys. You can go check that out on my channel. Tomorrow, I'll drop a review video for some new comic book day books that I picked up. And Friday, I go live on my channel. It's usually around like 1 p.m. Central. So I know a lot of people are at work or lunch or whatever it is. Just put me on in the background. You guys, you know you're not working, really. Just listen to me in the background. I got that soothing voice, guys. Yeah. And one other note, the mystery boxes, the Comic Jabroni mystery boxes, they are all sold. I have them packed, and I'm going to try to ship them out Friday, if not Monday, because I have drill. I have Army Reserve drill this weekend. So Monday at the latest, I'm going to ship those out, man. So, you know, I'm happy that I got all 20 sold. I'm very excited to see who the grand prize winner is going to be. I have no idea.
That's so awesome, man.
Dude, somebody's going to get a Hulk 180, 6.5 CGC slab. And we're going to do another one. I talked to my buddy Alan, who gave me that 180 to give to you guys on the community. He told me that the next round of Comic Jabroni mystery boxes is going to be even bigger than this Hulk 180.
Holy crud.
Yeah. And he's, again, dude, giving it out to the community, man. So I'm excited. And it's all for my quest for Turtles issue number 1, man. First print. That is my holy grail. This isn't Tony Sanders' show, but that's my grail.
Old Wolf recorrects himself and says it is, in fact, only 4 issues.
Boo.
And he's also speaking with caps on, so he's screaming at me.
John?
My next I'm hoping to drop a video this coming weekend. I've edited a little bit of it, but I'm shooting my next round of 3 book reviews. We're doing Marvel books this round, and so those hopefully will be edited and up in the next few days. Got a crud going on, just a ton of stuff going on this week. It's the stupidest week ever, man. I had conferences all day today. I got events at my school on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday that I got to attend. There are 4 rain soccer games that Charlie's going to play, rain or shine, and it's supposed to rain. We got to play in them, all 4. So it is a busy next few days, but I'm hoping to get those videos shot completely, edited completely, and up soon.
Next week on this very show on John's channel.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. Oh, that's going to be on your channel? Or that you're going to be here?
Next week is the week when I'm like, what's my schedule going to be like on Wednesday?
Well, I'll be there along with Tony Sanders for the 4th time.
I think he's our first 4-timer.
And because it's kind of a bad week for new comics, we're going to be reading, I don't think it's a facsimile. I think it's True Believers. Either way, Marvel is reprinting Nova #1. Tony Sanders is a huge Richard Rider fan. I'm not going to make a joke there. And so we're going to read Nova #1. Also, all this week and next week, check out Boy7's channel for 12 Days of Christmas. It's incredible. I'm not just saying that because John and I were lucky enough to receive gifts. It's just like I've enjoyed watching the other ones maybe more than getting ours, just because it's like it's just an incredible thing to watch. So yeah, check that out. And I was also on Gotham City Chronicles earlier this week on Monday. Check out JP's Budget Collecting's channel for that. We talked about Gotham Central, which I'm a huge fan of. I thought that was a great conversation. And thanks, John. Thanks to Edwin. Thanks to the chat for joining us. And I haven't done this in a while. Thanks, everyone. We'll see you next week. Maybe on my channel, maybe on John's. You never know. But in the meantime, I'm not going to say, never turn your back to the ocean.